A look at the pyramids of Giza, where humanity first achieved some of its greatest engineering ingenuity, an ingenuity that left those who beheld it some 5,000 years later in awe, that they said this could not have been built by humans. Alas, their ignorance, for if we look further south, we can find about 200 of them in Meroe, the land of the Kush or the Nubians. What shared culture inspired these people to produce this we do not know, but we can try to explore the earliest relationship between Egypt and Nubia as captured in history. The history of ancient Egypt is beyond a rookie like myself, but as an echoist of time, I travel as far back into time to hear the echoes of men and civilizations long gone and bring them to the modern man. When we read through ancient Greek literature, we encounter glowing description of a people whom the ancient Greeks referred to as the Ethiopians, meaning bronze-faced. Herodotus talked about them in his great book of history, and the great Greek poet Homerus describes them in one of his poems, the Iliad. The Ethiopians that the ancient Greeks were talking about are not modern-day Ethiopians as we may like to believe, but rather people that occupied the country that is today's Sudan. And these people have been described by various groups of people in the ancient world in ancient ways. And according to the ancient Egyptians, they were known as the seti, that is people of the bow, because they were very good archers, they were very good with the bow. The relationship between the ancient Nubians and the ancient Egyptians is what our discussion today is centered around. This relationship that goes back into a very remote period in history has even passed into stories told by the ancient Nubians. One such story was related to the ancient Greek historian Diodorus on his visits to Nubia. It was related to him that the ancient Egyptians were colonists sent from Nubia under the leadership of Osiris. It is therefore of no surprise that historians, both in ancient times and in modern times, believe both the ancient Egyptians and the Nubians to share similarities that went even beyond their physical appearances. These similarities even took cultural forms. According to G. Maspero, the ancient Egyptians and the ancient Nubians started trading with each other as far back as the first dynasty of Egypt. This relationship took a different form in the third dynasty of Egypt when Pharaoh Sneferu raided into Nubia and captured 7,000 slaves and 200,000 cattle. By the 6th dynasty of Egypt, in the reign of Pharaoh Pepi I, he drafted some Nubian tribes into Egyptian military. These tribes were known as the Wawat, the Meji, the Amam, the Cow, and the Atet in the fight of the Egyptians against the Sand people, whom the ancient Egyptians described as people from the eastern deserts. In this same 6th dynasty, in the reign of Pharaoh Amenrere, he sent one court official by the name Ekuf to explore Nubia and open up Nubia to Egyptian exploration. Ekuf was held in high esteem and he was highly respected by Nubian chiefs. He visited Nubia on many occasions, and it was reported that on his fourth visit to Nubia, he went beyond the land of the Punt, which is modern-day Somalia, and went as far south as the land of the Spirits, which probably was the land of the Pygmies at the time. By the end of the Old Kingdom of Egypt, the relationship between ancient Egypt and Nubia, which has likely been one-sided, that is to the side of the Egyptians, with the Egyptians being the superior party in this relationship and the Nubians being the inferior party, took another form because the Nubians became emboldened and they started trading with the people of Upper Egypt without any fear of taxation. In this period, the Nubians established markets both on the eastern bank of the Nile and on the western bank of the Nile at Daro and Edfu respectively.
With the establishment of the 11th dynasty of Egypt by Pharaoh Mentuhotep, the relationship between ancient Egypt and Nubia reverted back to its old status, with the Egyptians being the superior party in this relationship. And the legacy of Pharaoh Mentuhotep was continued by the pharaohs of the 12th dynasty, because in this period it is believed that the ancient Egyptians and the Nubians had become highly involved in each other's affairs, that there were even some intermarriages, because it was reported that Pharaoh Amenemhat I, who founded the 12th dynasty, was born of a Nubian mother by the name Nefret. Other pharaohs from these same 12th dynasties had different approaches in their relationship with the Nubians. For Senusret I, he saw in the Nubians a labor to be exploited, and he saw their land a spoil to be taken, as he exploited Nubians in various ways in different gold mining sites in Nubia. And for Senusret II, he marched into Nubia at the head of a large army and occupied an island between the Wadi Alpha and the Saras, where he consecrated a temple. He built a temple which he dedicated to himself and the god Osiris. By the close of the 12th dynasty, Egypt fell back into another period of ruin, and in this period, Egypt had been invaded from the north by the Asiatic Semitic people who came from the Levant, and they founded their capital at the Egyptian city of Avaris. And these foreign elements were referred to in Egypt as the Hyksos, who were ruling Egypt. And then in this period, the Nubians had become emboldened by the precarious situation of Egypt, and they forged an alliance with these foreign elements, that whilst the Hyksos choked Egypt from the north, the Nubians choked Egypt from the south. This continued for generations until the light of the god Ra shined on Egypt again, and another dynasty emerged from the Egyptian city of Thebes. Another Egyptian dynasty emerged from the Egyptian city of Thebes. But before this dynasty emerged, a war took place between the people who founded this dynasty, that is Ahmose, along with his brave general Ahmose of El Kab, fought a decisive battle against the Hyksos, and they defeated them. After having defeated the Hyksos, they chased the Hyksos out of Egypt far into Levant, as far as Sharuhen. And after having dealt with the Hyksos, these people founded the 18th dynasty of Egypt that restored the glory and honor of Egypt back. It was in this era that we witnessed many great pharaohs like the Thutmosid pharaohs, who extended the dominion of Egypt into the Levant and as far as places like Cyprus, where the Egyptians were the single most powerful state and entity on the face of the earth at the time. So the Egyptians turned back their attention to the emboldened Nubians and defeated them at a decisive battle. After having done so, the Nubians kept rising in rebellion, and this meant that the Egyptians had to continue dealing with pockets of rebellion. This problem of Nubia needed a lasting solution, so the Egyptians established a royal office that they called the Office of the Prince of Kesh, who was to manage the affairs of Nubia and make sure that Nubia was peaceful and easy for Egyptian colonization. Thus, official Egyptian colonization began in Nubia.